Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Honkai Star Rail video, and today we're going to do a character guide on Herta. So I finally got my Herta maxed out, and the reason why I want to do this guide is she's very, very good in pure fiction, and in particular, there's a couple of stages where the enemies have ice and fire weakness, and running her and Himeko together is just insanity. So we're going to do a showcase of her with Himeko, like dominating pure fiction, right? So in this guide, we're going to go ahead and look at Herta's kit, and then we're going to talk about her best relics, and her best light cones, and kind of how you want to build her and how you want to use her in this game, right? So, if you're not familiar with Herta, she is an ice erudition character, and she is geared on follow-up attacks, very much like Himeko. And Herta and Himeko, I think, respectively, were probably considered to be the worst 4 and 5-star characters in the game. Until Pure Fiction came out. In Pure Fiction, I think they are actually very top tier, and it was awesome of the developers to develop a mode for these characters that maybe weren't that good, that now they like can really dominate somewhere, and it really made them worth building up for me. So yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at it here. So here's Herta. So we're going to start with her talent, because this kind of explains like how her kit works, right? So anytime an ally causes an enemy's HP to fall below 50%, she will deal an ice follow-up attack that is scaled off of her attack stat. And then some bonus effects here. And by the way, my Herta is E5. So this actually is one of the few times I'm not showcasing an E6. But I think with E6, she just gets a little bit more damage. So it's not like we're not missing too much here. But her talents are fully maxed out for the most part. So we're getting all the bonus effects from talents and, from traces, and from her eidolons, right? So one of the bonus effects, every time her talent is triggered, her crit rate increases by 3%, and it can stack up to 5 times. So basically, she can get up to 15% extra crit rate, which is very good. When her talent is triggered, her damage increases. And then the chance to resist crowd control debuffs increases. So she has a little bit of debuff resistance in there as well. But the general idea is, once again, anytime an enemy is attacked and you put them below 50%, she's going to pop off with her follow-ups, right? Her basic attack just deals ice damage scaled off of her attack. But if the enemy's HP is 50% or less, her basic attack does get more damage on it. So her whole kit is revolved around getting the enemies below 50%, which means she's not going to be very good on like big boss characters, but extremely good in a mode like Pure Fiction where you have a bunch of weak enemies, right? Like she's so good in there. Her skill is an AoE skill, deals ice damage scaled off of her attack. If the enemy is 50% or less, she gets more damage. And then when her skill is used, the damage boost effect on enemies increases by another percentage. So basically, you just get big AoE damage. If the enemies are already weak, then you get even more damage. Her ultimate deals damage to all enemies scaled off of her attack. And then when her ultimate is used, she gets extra damage if the enemies are frozen. And then her field technique, her attack will increase by 40% for 3 turns at the beginning of the next battle. So not the craziest in terms of technique, but it's something you can use if you have the field skill points to use it, right? So with that, let's go ahead and we're going to look at her light cones and her relics. And we'll go ahead and we'll do that through the data bank. All right, so let's look at light cones. Her light cones, honestly, are basically the same way you'd want to build Himeko, right? So I would say your 2 best 5-star sets are either the or light cones. You want to, here, let me go to erudition. For 5-star, you either want the Himeko one or the Jingyuan one. I think those are both like the best ones, right? So this one here, Before Dawn, you get crit damage and then skill and ultimate damage, and then you gain basically a buff that increases your follow-up damage. So this is really geared on like giving you a lot of damage and then improving your follow-up damage. And then the Himeko one is also very good. Nope, not that one. Where is the Himeko one? Am I blind? Am I not seeing it? The Night on the Milky Way, right here. Sorry, the art looks a little bit different. But this one here, and I think this is just from the general pool. So if you got lucky and pulled this one, this would be like a really top tier one for either Himeko or Herta. But it's really geared on follow-up attacks, right? And the thing that's awesome about this one, this light cone in particular is geared for Pure Fiction, where you're going to be using these characters, right? So you get an attack buff for every enemy on the field, up to 5 stacks, right? So you're pretty much going to have this fully stacked out in Pure Fiction because you usually have at least 5 enemies in there, which means you're getting a 45% attack increase, right? And then when an enemy is inflicted with weakness break, the damage increases by 30%. So yeah, very, very good light cone there, if you have them. Now, obviously, many of you will not have those. So for your 4-star options, we've got actually this one here. Today is another peaceful day. I don't have this one, which is making me think this is probably the battle pass one. So if you want this one, I think this one actually could be a pretty good one to pick up. After entering battle, increases the wearer's damage based on their max energy, and then the damage. So it's just like the more energy you have, the more damage you do. This can actually be good for like these follow-up characters, because you could let them sit there with full energy and do the follow-up attacks. You don't have to hit their ultimates right away. And then they can just do a lot of follow-up damage while they have full energy, right? So there's that one. And then the common ones that you'll probably have are Birth of the Self and the Seriousness of Breakfast. So Birth of the Self, I would say this one's a pretty solid one, right? This increases your follow-up damage. So this is the one that I would be using on my Herta, but this one's actually on my Himeko right now. So I'm going to be using the last option I'm going to show you here. But yeah, basically it's just literally follow-up damage increase, which is what you want. And then this one's very accessible, the Seriousness of Breakfast. You can buy this from the Light Cone Manifest from the Forgotten Hall. So very, very easy to obtain this if you want this one. This just gives you damage, and then every time you defeat an enemy, you get more damage or more attack. So it just gives you some damage. I would say this one's definitely on like the lower end, but this is the one mine's going to have, because it just happens to be one that I have. I definitely could just take the one off of Himeko temporarily for the showcase and show you, but we'll do it with that one on there. That's how I'm going to roll there. Next, let's go ahead and look at the relics. Now, I think there's a few different relic sets you can go. Obviously, being an ice character, you could do the Hunter of the Glacial Forest. So if you go 2-piece, you get ice damage. If you go 4-piece, it increases your ultimate and crit damage. So you definitely could go that route. You could do like a 2-piece of this and get 10% ice damage, and then you could just say combo it with like a Wild Wheat to get attack. Okay, but the set I'm opting for is I'm actually going with the Grand Duke set, because my goal with her is to focus on the follow-up damage. So this one, you're going to get the follow-up damage on a 2-piece set. And then the 4-piece set is giving you more attack when you launch follow-up attacks, and it stacks, right? And so my thought with Herta and Himeko is I'm really focusing on their follow-up attacks. They're going to be triggering a lot in Pure Fiction. So I feel like I'm just going to get more out of this Grand Duke set. So I'm opting to go 4-piece Grand Duke on mine. On your Herta, you could decide, but I'd say between the Grand Duke set, the Ice set, and the Musketeer set, you could do any 2 or 4-piece combo that you'd want to out of that, right? And you kind of pick your own preference there. But yeah, I'm going with the Grand Duke set. And then when we're looking at the body and the feet, so on the body slot here, you definitely want to do crit rate or crit damage. Probably going to be crit rate. But once again, I always say this, if you can get crit rate above 50% without this, then go crit damage to help the damage out. And then on the feet, you definitely want to go speed. Secondary option could be attack, but speed is probably what you want there. So pretty standard recommendations. And then we'll go to the planner ornaments. And I think she's a great candidate for the Inert Salsado. We've talked about this one recently with a couple characters, this one right here. The reason why is this one increases your follow-up damage and crit rate. It's like 2 really good things that this character wants. So I would say this would be my highest recommendation to go with this one. But obviously the Gilmoth, what is it? This Firmament Frontline Gilmoth. This speed set, we've talked about this one a lot, is very good on damage dealers. But I would say because we're specializing in follow-up damage, I would go with the Inert Salsado here. And then what you want to do is, on the actual Planner Sphere, you want to go Ice Element. And on the Link Rope, you either want to go Attack or Energy Regenerate. That's going to be kind of up to you. But yeah, pretty standard recommendations there. So with that, let's go ahead. We're going to hop into a showcase and see what Herta can do. And once again, this is going to be a mode where she looks really, really, really good, right? So we'll go ahead and go into here. We'll hop over here. And yes, we're going to go into Pure Fiction. Gotta be like my favorite mode in the game right now. I love Pure Fiction. We'll go to stage 2 because we got a nice ice fire set up there. And you can see I've got Herta and Himeko lined up. So let's go ahead and do this one. So once again, you have to watch me suffer through stage 1. We'll just do what we can here. And sure, we'll use up all the skills here. Why not? Actually, I don't really have much to use. We'll do Clara's. All right, so we'll go through and do this. But yeah, you guys can let me know if you've built up Herta or if you're excited to do so. All I know is once Pure Fiction dropped, I had streamed it that initial night, and I actually had no idea that, like Himeko and Herta were going to be so good in this mode. Like, I hadn't read any comments from the community yet, so my reaction during my live stream was very genuine, right? Like, I just saw Himeko kind of popping off and going crazy, and I'm like, because this was me just kind of playing it, and I'm like, oh yeah, there's a lot of enemies, they seem kind of weaker, like Himeko might actually be good here. And then when I used her, she not only was she good, she was like the best character in here, right? Now Herta's going to act the same way, and we're going to see her on the next stage just kind of go crazy. So then, yeah, during my stream, people start talking about, oh yeah, like Herta's going to be really good in here too. And I hadn't even honestly at that point really looked at Herta's kit. I had just always seen on like tier lists she was always ranked super low, like really bad. So I never even like gave her a thought. And then when I actually read the kit, I'm like, oh yeah, she's just a mini Himeko. That's all she is. Like, her and Himeko are basically the same character. It's just one's a 4-star, one's a 5-star, and they have different elements, right? One's fire, one's ice. So what's really nice about this Pure Fiction on stage 2 and stage 3, they give you a stage where the enemies are weak to both fire and ice. You can use them together, and you just absolutely dominate. Like, it's so crazy. So we're about to see that here. We're just going to kind of casually go through and do as best as we can on this first phase. Not that I'm worried about it, like we've already got all the points we need here. But stage 3, I was able to 3-star it for the first time using the Herta Himeko combo. So that was awesome and fun to do. Stage 4, I still have not been able to 3-star that one. So I still got to work on that one. I think getting Dr. Ratio built up could help. I think Dr. Ratio actually can be pretty solid here. I know he's hunt and he's single target, but being able to like trigger follow-up attacks and extra damage can definitely help, I think. We just got to make sure we keep going after these piggies here. They give you a lot of extra points. But yeah, with March here, we're just like not taking anything. Like, I probably could do this setup without a healer and then just bring like more damage. I could definitely improve my damage from this first team for sure. We'll go ahead and keep Sela going. Get that rolling there. But yeah, I have like really enjoyed playing Star Rail and having it on my channel. It's a very good game. Highly recommend if any of you are just like my DFFOO people that are like kind of just watching these because you like my content, like definitely give this game a try if you haven't. It's incredibly good. I would say it's the closest thing I've played to DFFOO in terms of like how good the battle mechanics are. It's turn-based. You have to think a lot about your character's actions. Like, it does give me similar vibes. You know, it obviously doesn't have like a brave system or whatever. It's more of a traditional turn-based role-playing game, but it's a very, very good game. So highly recommend it to my DFFOO players that are looking for something new to play, for sure. All right, and I have heard from several of my players that have started this and do really enjoy it, so I'm glad. And the nice thing with this game, it's not going to break your heart like DFFOO. It is like a top grossing game. It is incredibly popular. A lot of people are playing it. So it's not going anywhere anytime soon. So we'll put it that way. Like, this is the type of game where I almost expect it to have like a 10th year anniversary. Unless something happens and it like, for some reason just falls off a cliff, but I do not see that happening. The game is too good. It's got too much of a strong fan base to fail at this point. And the devs do too good of a job for the game to fail. They've already made like incredibly good quality of life updates, and we're not even to the first year anniversary. They've already listened to feedback and made drastic changes in the game to make it better, which is awesome. Some of those changes including like they've done simple UI things like making it quicker when you go into your adventures and stuff, but like the big one is they've already upgraded, like they've given you more stamina. And they've made it so you have like a backup hoard of stamina. So if you don't use it, you're not wasting it. Like, it saves to a backup reserve. So like that kind of stuff has just been amazing. Getting a 5-star character for free. Like, all these things that like Genshin's wanted and they haven't even gotten yet, right? It's kind of crazy. All right, links. Sure, we'll do that. We'll do this. Get some breaking, get some killing going. We'll go and finish you off. Get some more fresh enemies out. Let Clara get into Mr. Svarog mode. We're on our last turn here. But yeah, over 30,000 on the first wave, I would actually say is pretty good. Because the second wave, we're going to dominate like so much. It's crazy. Like this probably will be my all-time high score on this stage. Because my first time doing Herta and Himeko, I actually did on stage 3. So for this video, I figured I'd do stage 2. Whoops, that is not what I meant to click on. I'm trying to do the ultimate here. March just wanted to make an appearance. By the way, I've also gotten feedback, and based on the number of views, you guys really liked my Honkai Star Rail trading card box opening. So I am planning to do more of those. I am actually just waiting to get some more boxes in the mail. And I did intentionally buy different boxes. So you guys will see different sets with different cards and different arts. And you can kind of see which ones are good. I'll kind of do my best to rate them. But so far, that first set I opened was very good, very high quality. I was very happy with those. So I'm hoping these other sets won't let me down and they will also be good. Wow, we actually finished before the turn count. Nice. So we have a very, very good score. Yeah, really good score. So now we've got Himeko, we've got Herta. So Herta's going to enhance, just gives her an attack buff. We'll do Ran Mai. And then we're actually going to do Jinglu's here. So then Jinglu can get into her mode a little bit quicker, and then we'll attack. All right, get ready to watch Himeko and Herta go crazy. So remember, Himeko is when you build up stacks from breaking, she's going to pop off. And then Herta says when you attack an enemy to go below 50%, she's going to pop off, right? So like here, for example, I could attack this weaker enemy. If I can get them below 50%, which we did. Yep, and there goes Herta. Now her attacks, you can see, they're not like the strongest, but they definitely add up when you're constantly going crazy. Like, and almost every attack I'm going to do is going to trigger Herta because I'm always putting somebody below 50%. So there's Himeko and then there's Herta. So now we just start going crazy like back to back to back to back. And once again, someone like Jinglu who's stealing turns, everything we do here, we're just getting follow-ups. Give me fresh enemies. Oh, see that one, I think because we killed everybody, she didn't pop off there. Let's go ahead and do this. But this should make Herta go off, I think. Yep, there she goes. And then look, the damage really coming in on some of these follow-ups, right? And then just constant fresh enemies. We'll hit all of these. This is like my favorite part right now. It's just doing this and watching all of these follow-ups go insane. And we're just blowing up like every single wave. Yeah, well, let's do that. Yeah, she even went off on that. And now here comes Herta's ultimate. Sorry, after Himeko, like, it's insane. It's almost like auto mode sometimes, where, like, their follow-ups just trigger each other, and they just, like, interrupt you and just do a bunch, right? So here goes Himeko again. Now Himeko's going to trigger Herta, like, and then Herta triggered Himeko. Like, look at all this back-to-back-to-back shenanigans. Here's our first actual AoE attack from Herta, which is going to trigger her own. Like, it just gets wild. And then here's another Herta ultimate. Like, these two together. Like, 163k Herta did on that. And that's not including all of this ridiculous follow-up damage. And then we're just going from ultimate to ultimate. Like, it's insane. And, like, the thing is their follow-ups are building up their ultimates, right? Look at them just ping-pong off of each other. And so not only are they doing tons of crazy follow-ups, but they're increasing their ultimates, and then their ultimates can go off. Like, we're barely getting turns with these other characters. Here goes another Herta ultimate. Into Himeko. And almost into another Himeko ultimate. Like, she's about there, right? Well, she just went it. Yep, she did. That was all. They just followed up into each other. Like, it's insane. And here they go again. Like, look at it. It's like, that was like auto mode, and we're already done. I barely got to press buttons with people. We just hit the max score of 80,000. Like, no problem. Like, crazy. So, I'm telling you guys, if you have Himeko and Herta, build them up, and you are going to just dominate pure fiction. So, anyways, guys, let me know what you think of Herta. Thanks for watching. We'll catch y'all on the next one.